This morning, or this afternoon, I'm still on morning time. The first thing is for a prayer. Mr. Martin, do you want to lead us in prayer
We'd like
tonight?
to. Let's bow our heads and pray. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we just so humbly come before you again this evening, Lord. And, Lord, just please be with us, Lord. Be with our supervisors, Lord, as they make decisions affecting our county, Lord. And, Lord, we just pray that you'll bless us and watch over us all. And all these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. And we'll do the pledge. And Rhonda, do you want to start it first tonight?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I'll note that all of our members are present except Chris, and Chris is going to come in remotely, and our county administrator, Mr. Barton, and our county attorney, Mr. Sturgill, and our clerk tonight is Karen Fuller. Teresa has a death in her family, and I think that's all. And I'd like to welcome everyone that's in the audience and those that's listening by line this afternoon, and y'all bear with us. We're gonna do new computers tonight, so just bear with us. And we need, first thing on the agenda, we have to pass a resolution to allow Chris Hall to participate remotely. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Make a motion, we allow that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second to allow Mr. Hall to participate remotely. Ms. Lewis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Thacker?
Yes.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Mr. Barton is,
And if we could clarify where he is and the reason for the attendance remotely.
Okay, he has to do that when he comes on, okay.
Correct. Well, it's part of the resolution, actually. So-
Yes.
So if we could have clarification on that.
Okay.
Mr. Hall, are you with us?
Yeah,
If you'd want to state your location and the reason for asking for participation remotely.
okay, I'm currently in Louisiana with the Cumberland Plateau CDC at the annual NATO conference.
Thank you.
And that's all we need. So we've already got a motion and a second.
Okay.
Yep.
And I vote aye also.
I as well.
So that's all we have to do to let him participate?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, welcome, Mr. Hall.
Thank you.
And the next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our regular board meeting September 24th and our special call meeting on September the 3rd. They have a motion to approve them
Make a motion, we approve the minutes
as presented.
as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, how do you vote? Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Ms. Leslie?
Oh, sorry.
I tricked you.
You
And
tricked me.
also Mr. Thacker.
Aye.
I try not to call on the same person every time at first. The next thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Do we have any additions, or
No, ma'am, everything is as printed.
does any of the board members have anything to add to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. Hall, I forgot to ask you to vote on the minutes. How do you vote?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
And I'll second Richard's motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. How do you vote, Ms. Celeste?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
The next thing on the agenda is our consent agenda. And we need a motion to approve them all together or separate. Does anyone have a preference?
I'll make a motion to approve them all together.
Is Mr. Sheriff here? Jeremy,
He
do
said
you
no.
want yours, in person?
That'd be great.
Okay.
If you guys got a few minutes.
We do. Let us go ahead and prove the others then, and we'll let you do, well, I'll wait till you do yours, then we'll do all of them. Go ahead. You wasn't here last month, and so I had to see if you're here tonight.
So once again, I appreciate you guys giving me just a few minutes to talk about what's going on throughout the county. I think you guys all have a copy before you. I'll start with the one that says monthly report for September. So going down the list again, I'll just hit the ones that are more prevalent. If you guys got any questions about any of them, just stop me at any time. So it looks like for the month of September, we took 2,456 total calls through dispatch. On the first page, you go down, you'll see protective orders. We served 14 protective orders for the month. It looks like we made 40 arrests for the month of September. Deputies throughout the county ran a total of 25,960 miles in the county for the month of September. Had 161.5 auxiliary hours worked. Of course, a lot of that was at the fair, last month. So that's a pretty significant number. It just tells you how good those guys are to come out and help us when we need it. And that could be transports, TDOs, ECOs. I think we had 3 TDO trips. I think they all went to Bristol. Pretty slow month for extraditions. I think we had one that went to North Carolina. We had to go to North Carolina and pick up one. Investigations, it looks like our investigators opened 56 new cases for the month of September. I'll skip over to the next page, go over some of the calls. Looks like we had 77 911 hang-up calls, 40 assist motorists with keys. So we had 456 church checks for the month, 371 civil process papers served, 3 DOAs for the month. That's typical, that's about average. 16 domestics on the month, 23 escorts, 23 fingerprint calls. It's 673 extra patrols patrolling checks. And like I said, most of those are people that are on vacation or call in. They've got suspicious activity, something in their area. So it's 673 of those. 143 request officers either in person or by phone. 29 roadway hazards. Of course, I want to thank Sandy Ridge Fire, Rescue, all you guys in that area, in that district, Shelby's district, all the tree work, all my deputies. We cut trees for hours. Richie was with me. North Hazel Mountain, it looked like a bomb went off. It was pretty rough shape. Hazel Mountain, Sandy Ridge, parts of Caney Ridge, all your districts.
Yeah.
Had very few reports in other, I know Chris's district down the Lake Road, it was several trees down, but it was isolated throughout the county. But your district got
It
hit.
just
so-
followed the hollows or something, I don't know what it did.
Yeah. So we had 83 calls for trees down, and that's probably about a fourth of the actual trees that were down. Said a lot of them don't get called in, but looked like we served 61 warrants on the month, 27 welfare checks. I think I went over the new mileage. some of our vehicles, I know I try to email this to Larry. You guys can look at the mileage list. Of course, it looks like the oldest vehicle has 162,000 miles on it. Of course, we want to thank the board also. You guys have done an excellent job providing new vehicles for us. We do have 8 or 10 vehicles that are in excellent shape, that are fairly new vehicles, and we got a few on the way. And you guys always are good, have been good about getting us 3 in the budget every year, and we appreciate that. And then on the auxiliary hours worked, you can look and you can see who came out, which auxiliary members came out, and there's a list that tells you what they done, who they rode with, they went to the fair and whatnot, or assisted on other calls. And I think that's it for me. Does anybody else have any questions or anything I can answer?
2 things. I appreciate you checking the churches, and I appreciate everything that you do, and also the mileage and the calls. It shocks me that
Yeah.
there's that many calls. that
Yeah, the
y'all have
mileage is a
done.
little bit low this month. We typically, we're usually around 30,000 a month, usually about 1,000 miles a day. As some of you guys go on vacation a lot, but we, some of our deputies will run 500 miles a night in Dickinson County. You know, it's almost here to Florida, so it's hard to imagine in Dickinson County, but from Clintwood to Hayside to Braggs, County line on Caney Ridge, Sandy Ridge, 8 or 10, 12 times a night, it adds up, so. But,
Jeremy, we had one tree to fall at our house, and my son, lives right in front of us. He had
Yeah.
$14,000 worth of damage to his
yeah,
place.
bad.
Yeah.
Any questions, anybody? Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, we have a motion to approve all of them together. Did I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second that we approve all the consent agendas together. Ms. Sluss, how do you vote?
Aye.
Let me ask, are there any discussion on them before we vote? None? Mr. Hall, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker? And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And I also. Now, that takes us down to public comment. And I'll get Mr. Sturgill to give you the rules. Anyone that wants to make a public comment can come to the podium and state your name and your address.
Upon recognition by the chairman, the speaker shall address himself to the chairman, and if at the conclusion of his remarks, any member of the Board of Supervisors desires further information, the member will address the speaker only with permission of the chairman. There shall be a time limit for each individual speaker of 3 minutes. A representative of a group may have up to 5 minutes to make a presentation. Speakers are not permitted to donate time to other speakers. No speaker's time shall be extended except by unanimous consent or a 2/3 vote of the board members present. Prohibited conduct. Persons appearing before the board will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use profanity, use language which insults or demeans any person, and/or when directed at a public official or employee when not related to his or her official duties. However, citizens have the right to comment on the performance, conduct, and qualifications of public figures, make frivolous statements, interrupt other speakers, or engage in behavior that disrupts the meeting, engage in behavior that intimidates others, or address the board on issues that do not concern the services, policies, or affairs of the county. Thank you.
And also, the public can also call in at 276-333-0357 to make a comment. Do I have anyone in the audience to make a public comment?
So, my name is Candace Watkins. My address is 5922 Big Ridge Road, Hayside, Virginia, 24256. I will open tonight advocating for my program, knowing I have the backing and support of my landlords and families that we serve in this county and continue to serve. Since taking over the role as the program housing director mid-year 2018 until present, I've worked as one-person office for very long periods of time. I've had a part-time assistant inspector for most of those years, and for approximately 9 months, a full-time assistant inspector. Since July of 2022, I've impressively increased our program voucher numbers to 25%, assisting 258 families with a target goal of 261. For every voucher lease, the program receives a $41 administration fee per voucher per month to sufficiently and successfully run this program, making the current net cost to the county $0 and putting approximately $4,487 even with 2 full-time staff. The federal program continues increasing workloads, trainings, policy changes, and more. Your families and taxpayers of the county rely on this program. I'm here to ask for the consideration of moving my part-time administrative assistant inspector to a full-time position to continue to sufficiently and successfully sustain and grow the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kansas.
Madam Chair, we have one on the line now.
Go ahead, everyone who's online.
Well, thank you. My name is Jason Marshall. First, I want to thank the board for allowing me the opportunity to address everyone this evening. I currently own 8 tax properties in Dixon County, and I have several tenants on rental assistance. And I'm here to support Ms. Watkins in her role as a Dixon County rental assistant and her request for additional support staff hours. I can speak directly to the need for these additional hours, as I have seen a decline in service since her office was forced to drop down from the 2 full-time staff that they maintained just earlier this year. Since reduction in staff hours, Ms. Watkins often has to reach out to me or my tenants outside of their normal business hours. It often calls me from home simply because she doesn't have enough time to do everything she needs to do during business hours. While I'm sure the board has some familiarity with the citizens that rely on rental assistance, I'm not sure that everyone fully understands what is required to work with these individuals. I have tenants that cannot read beyond a 2nd or 3rd grade level, struggle with understanding more than basic concepts, and typically have minimal to no computer skills. I have tenants who don't own a computer and need assistance from me and my property manager working their cell phones. It's fair to say that these individuals need additional time and assistance to have their paperwork explained to them, to have their inspections explained to them, and have changes in their vouchers explained to them. This takes time, and with more than 250 current vouchers on the rolls, Ms. Watkins and her part-time staff simply do not have the time needed to fully assist those most in need. I can assure you that I'm not the only landlord with tenants in this situation. I can also tell you with confidence that without additional assistance, Ms. Watkins will not be able to continue with the level of assistance required to help these people. While the additional staffing hours requested will benefit Ms. Watkins, it will benefit these individuals far more. These are individuals that live in our community, that buy goods and services in our community, that pay taxes in our community, and that vote in our community. To deny Ms. Watkins' request when it comes without cost to the county will be to deny these individuals the help they require for a basic need that each and every one of us likely take for granted. Thank you for your time and attention this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Candace, is it true, and I think what you're asking to put this person at full-time will cost the county nothing?
Yes. He learned his sit down. He's actually worked with me and
I've got something.
Pardon me?
We have some financial numbers we can review with you. Yes.
I just want the public to know that what she's asking for a part-time to become a full-time, is not going to dip into the general fund. No.
At this time.
Thank you.
Do I have anyone else for public comment?
My name is Don Hill. I've had some dental work done, so kind of scratchy here. Good evening, board members. My name is Don Hill, and I live in Clinchco. I've got some numbers for you tonight with regard to what Candace is asking for, and I hope the numbers will support hiring another full-time employee. First of all, there is one full-time, one half-time employee in that office, serving 261 clients. If you calculate the hours based on that, it's 24 hours per year, 200 hours per month, times 12 months is 2,400 hours. There are 783 inspections for that full-time position and a half. And it consists of one visit, a follow-up, and then travel time. If you calculate the 3 visits I just mentioned by 261 recipients, that gives you 783 visits for these people, full-time and a half-time person. If you do a ratio of 783 over 2,400 hours, that's 33% of the time in that office, 33%. Now, what's critical here is those numbers, which are set in stone, they do not allow for holidays, vacations, personal leave, sick leave, and these variables decrease the number of hours worked. So actually that percentage, you would have to figure out all of those leaves and that stuff to get a correct percentage. But I assure you, it's much greater than 33%. Finally, in closing, I can't imagine how 1.5 employees can handle this much activity. Beyond me, along with the paperwork it generates. Tremendous amount of paperwork, unless they're working overtime. My understanding is they are not allowed to do that. So I fully support this additional person for that office. Candace does a tremendous job and always has, and she's a benefit to this county, very much so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you.
Anyone else with public comment?
Good evening, board members. My name is Rhonda Hill, and I live at 200 Leslie Lane, Hayside, Virginia. I would like to speak to you guys, and as most of you are aware, I personally worked with Candace hand in hand for around 2 years. I worked part-time, 1 year full-time, or almost 1 year full-time. So I kind of know what goes into everyday business with running the program. My specific job was doing the inspections, but during this time, especially once I got hired on full-time, I was able to learn more of the paperwork of what Candace entails, which I was able to pick up and take a little bit of the workload off of her. Candace is a very, very, very hardworking young lady that puts in a lot of time and effort into this program and taking care of these tenants. And also outside of that, last year when I had to step down as the assistant, I recently purchased the Ridge, well, now they're called Ridgetop Apartments on Caney Ridge, which was Ridgeview Apartments. And my husband and I have diligently been working really hard in getting those ready because the county is in such dire need of rental properties. Working with Candace, like it was every day, like people coming in, not only people for the program that was wanting to get onto the program, but people just looking for places to live within the county. And since purchasing Ridgetop Apartments, I myself, we have got, they were 6 buildings there, and we have 24 apartments. We now are down to only 5 apartments left, that's just left unto us to get finished, and we're full up until that. Over half of our apartments, some is probably about half is HUD and half is just people that are, moving from other counties to this county, which is bringing, in things to the county as far as purchases and stuff like that. I also wanted to bring up as well, as far as as far as this program, you got to think about revenue coming in besides the program. So when you're thinking about us as landlords, I think I own around 39 or 40 now. And so you got to think about, we're paying personal property taxes into the county for these properties. Also, we are spending money within the county to uphold these properties to the standards that's going, that has to be met by the federal government through HUD. So there's a lot of aspects that goes into this program that I think people need to take, be aware of as far as running the program. And Candace does an excellent job, and her assistant is doing a good job as well. So, just in my personal opinion, with working with Candace hand in hand the past 2 years, she's an excellent worker for this program and for the county, and I absolutely recommend getting her a full-time employee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Anyone else with public comment?
My name is Stephanie Lapp. I am a nurse at Norton Community. I actually used this program back when I was in nursing school. At the time, I was a single mother, and I was taking care of my son and going to school and working a job, and I was still barely getting by. And, I was very prideful, and I didn't like asking for help. But I was so close to the end of the nursing program, but I could barely pay my bills, even though I was working as hard as I possibly could. And this program right here helped me keep a roof over my son's head. And she needs help. She needs more help with this so she can be as effective as she wants to be, because she's passionate about helping this community and she cares about the people in this county. And so I'm asking if you'll please give her that support that she deserves and that she needs so she can run this program the way she'd like to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else with public comment?
Good evening.
Good evening, Robert.
My name is Robert Stanley. I live at 160 Hill Ridge. I'm a member of the Clintonwood Volunteer Fire Department, and I'm glad to say that I've been there 45 years. What I want to talk to you about is thanking you for taking over our maintenance programs. It's helped a lot, helped us in the money because trucks are getting older and they cost more to fix. And again, we thank you very much. If you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
what
for
you
your
do.
service,
Robert, for
Robert.
your
Thank you, Robert.
service.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Cody Rittenberry, Second Lieutenant with the Sandy Ridge Volunteer Fire Department. Before I start off, I want to say thank you again, to reiterate what Mr. Stanley said. Thank you for taking over the maintenance responsibilities on our trucks throughout the county. It has alleviated quite a bit of hardship for, I'm sure, every department in the county, not just ours, but every department. As I move forward, the reason why I'm here tonight is that our department has been made aware of a rumor that is floating around the county and through several different agencies in the first responder agencies in the county. It's been told by several different people to our members that Sandy Ridge Fire Department is going to end up like Dayton Fire Department. Miss Willis, you know just as well as I do.
I haven't heard that.
I understand.
I hadn't heard that.
If we didn't have a fire department on that mountain, and I'm sure Miss Sheriff Fleming could tell you,
We lost a lot of homes.
we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, we'd lost a lot of homes.
You know, when the hurricane came through, I mean, we were hard at it, one right after another. We were stretched thin with 3 trucks.
Right.
4 trucks, I'm sorry, 4 trucks. And one we're lucky to have in several different parts of the county. I myself was on a truck with another one of our members, 2 guys on a truck, cutting trees, clearing debris, and taking care of the community. When you've got also 3 or 2 people in another truck, North Hazel Mountain or wherever else in the county, we had to turn over 2 calls to our mutual aid from Wise County. We don't like doing that. Do not like doing that. But we had to. We were in a situation that all hands on deck. We could not send anybody else out. So we were able to turn that over to our mutual aid, and they took care of that for us greatly. But
I appreciate what y'all did.
right. And I appreciate you all. And that's what we're here for. We're here to take care of this county, take care of this community, Sandy Ridge, County Ridge, wherever we're needed. Last year during the brush fire season, we were all over this county.
Yeah.
Whenever the tones dropped for Hayside or Clinchco, Clintwood, there was not a moment that Sandy Ridge was not part of that.
I know you stayed with the fire as long as those homes up there were
Correct.
in danger, and it was terrible up there.
But I'm here tonight to put that rumor to rest, because this
I hadn't
gentleman,
heard it, so.
right, this gentleman right here, this is Chief Dale Mullins. If it wasn't for this gentleman right here, you wouldn't have a fire department. And this young man right here, Assistant Chief Zach Ritchie, you wouldn't have a fire department. We've got great young men and women on our department that learn, that want to learn, that are there every time the bell rings, and are there until the bell goes off. I mean, I don't understand how other people in the county, in the fire service or the EMS, they can say, y'all are gonna end up like Dayton.
I don't think so. You can.
All right. I'll address this myself, being emergency coordinator for the county. This is total nonsense. There's been no discussion whatsoever of eliminating any department in this county. We want, matter of fact, the last meeting we encouraged people to try to recruit people. We would help recruit people. If you've got a question about something like this, come to me, come to the county administrator, come to any chairman, or come to the chairman of the board, come to any board member, and we'll put a nonsense rumor like that to rest quickly.
Well, I greatly appreciate that, I really
There
do.
has been zero discussion of anything like that amongst
Nothing.
this board.
Not from us.
You're right.
And that's great to hear.
No, not
Because
from
We're here to
us.
help. We're not here to try to downtrodden our fire departments or rescue squads. God knows we're barely making it by the skin of our
appreciate
britches the way we are now.
Yes, sir.
And that's just total nonsense. And you don't have to worry about that, because there has been not one word come from one board member on this board about anything like
First I
that.
heard it was when you said that.
Yeah.
First words I've heard out of it is,
First now I've heard of it. First
They
I
come to the
heard.
microphone
I had not
tonight.
heard that.
if you've got questions about that, feel free to call,
Yes, sir.
email, text, whatever you're most comfortable with, and we'll answer it. But that's not gonna happen. That's not even in the thoughts or in the back room thinking. It's nowhere, and there's none of it. It's not happening. And that's just a rumor. You hear the rumor from somebody that likes to start rumors, and they're incorrect.
Well, that puts everything to rest right there for me. And I appreciate, Mr. Thacker, your take on that, and Ms. Willis, Ms.
We
Lewis, Ms.
appreciate
Geiser.
everything you do, and each
Listen.
fire department
Yes.
rescue squad member in this county. We can count how much we appreciate it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You know, I know the hours you put in, because I was a firefighter for 25 years, getting up in the middle of the night and sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner and the tones drop and you're like, see, you gotta go. You leave your family sitting there at the table. I left my prom date in my senior year. I left her at the high school to go out on a structure fire on Sand Lake Road.
I probably would have done the same thing.
So, I'm just telling you, I understand, and we're here for you, not against you.
Well, I appreciate that. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you that are here tonight. I want to thank our members, to these two guys right here. I mean, we've got one heck of a fire department. If you've never been up to our department to meet any of our members, we greatly encourage you to come by. We'll be having a Christmas dinner. I'm sure we'll let you know when that date is. I greatly encourage you to show up. Meet and shake hands with our members. You'll be really surprised. We've got 2 junior members, and just like you said, the recruiting, we're trying to get in it. We're trying to pound it hard because, listen, the older, no disrespect at all, the elder of the fire department, they're falling off, and they're retiring, and they're walking away. It's the younger generation to take it and do what they know to do with it. Absolutely. Volunteers are few and far between. And again, I thank each and every one of you tonight, and again, Mr. Thacker, thank you.
And thank you for letting us vote up there, and we're going to be up there before
Correct.
the election
We're
working on
gonna
the
get
building.
that taken care of.
Yes,
Thank you.
and thank you for allowing. Okay, thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, you gonna get to vote up there?
Yeah, we are going to get to vote it.
Madam Chairman, may I say one thing?
Yes.
I had the pleasure of being at the, well, I don't know if it's pleasure because it was for the dedication at the Rocky Wood Bridge last Saturday. And Dale was down there, I think, were you not, Dale?
What's that?
Well, you were down there last Saturday, were you not? Maybe some of the rest of you. And I was very impressed by the fire department down there. It looked great, and you're all doing a good job, and I really appreciate. There was a good crowd. Appreciate what Richard did, and that bridge is dedicated to his memorial. And I got to go through the fire department and look at your fire trucks, and I like fire trucks too. Thank you very much.
Do we have any other public comments?
Madam Chair, it looks like one's on the line again.
Okay, let him, and then I'll get the one on mine.
My name's Lonnie Neese. I'm landlord, and I support the second position for the HUD office. It helps a lot of people. The program's really important, and it brings income into the county because I pay a lot of taxes, and I buy a lot of materials from Clintwood lumber and stuff like that to work on these houses and stuff. I just want to let you know that I support it.
Thank you, Lord.
Support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone who's online, go ahead and state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Loretta Hall. I'm at 273 Meadows Pond Way, Clintwood, Virginia. I'm in the Willis District. I've done the rental assistance program, the administrator, up until 2019. Candace worked under me for 5 years. Miss Candace is a very hard worker, and she really does a wonderful job. But until she started, I always, for 15 to 20 years, had a full-time employee. And even when I had a full-time employee, I didn't even have as many people as she has on this program. She has more people on this program now than I had ever had. We probably got to 240, but not to anything like Candace has worked at. And believe me, after all my years at that, it took a lot of hard work to do that. You only work with these families, but you work with these owners. And you have to work diligently between the two of them and making sure that they have got decent housing to live in. And Candace has worked her heart out to get these vouchers for this program for Dickinson County. In our surrounding counties, there's no counties that got that many vouchers. Neighboring county, Buchanan County. The last time I knew, she had 150. She didn't want no more because she didn't want to have to work it anymore. And I know Candace, you could say, she could let it drop back and not help that many families and say, well, I don't have the time. I don't have the person to help me full time, and I can't handle that. So she could let it drop back to 200 families. But she's not like that. She's worked and worked overtime that she don't turn in. She works from home. She does everything she can to help these families and owners. This is a great asset to our county. Not only are you helping house these families, but these owners, they're paying taxes. They're spending money in our county. So this is a great program. She's doing a great job, and she needs a full-time employee. I thank you all so very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Thank you.
Do I have any more comments? Anybody else, public comment? Did you say something, Rhonda?
No, I did.
Okay.
Nobody else on the phone? Because I heard that beep, that's probably when she hung up. Okay.
Hearing no other public comments, I'm gonna go ahead and close public comment. I don't need a motion for that, do I? Okay. The next thing on the agenda is to welcome our VDOT employees to speak.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. I'm Alan Sumter. For those that don't know me, I'm the Residency Administrator for VDOT for the Wise Residency. We cover Lee, Scott, Wise, and Dickinson counties, take care of the maintenance there. The reason I'm coming tonight is to give our quarterly update and just check in with you, see if y'all have anything for us. I'm going to let Wade come up in a minute and talk to you about specific things on the report and other things that he's worked with you all on in the last quarter or so. I just kind of want to give a little bit of an overview. So I'll touch first on the storm, Hurricane Helene, that occurred, and we at VDOT do appreciate the Sheriff's Department and all the firemen that assisted in clearing roads during that time. That was very helpful to us. We have had several weeks now that we've been working to clean the debris up, and thankfully we are getting pretty far along with that. Just to kind of give you a little background with it is, and no one did an exact count, but our folks estimated that we had right around 400 trees to clean up after the storm was over here. We have picked up around 3,200 cubic yards of debris, and we have been taking that to the Red Onion site that we store a lot of our waste at, and our plan is to chip that debris after we're complete and can get that schedule to come in. We've spent around $575,000 on the storm cleanup thus far, and as I said, we've worked about every weekend except one had to give our folks just a little bit of a break a couple of weeks ago. But we've worked about every day, daylight to dark, with our crews and with contractors and other tree crews that have been brought in. So we're moving right along with that, and hoping to get back to some of our regular work. It did affect us with some of the plans that we had with our regular maintenance by some of the mowing that we still had to finish up. We've started back doing mowing now, trying to get that finished. I know it's late in the year, but we're trying to get that taken care of. We're also going to try to get one last primary mowing completed. And also we're working to use some contractor forces to try to get some of our high-volume secondary roads mowed one more time, particularly in areas where there is the Johnson grass that's grown up and is problems there with that. We have most of our paving schedule that's been complete. We're hoping to try to get a couple of the coal severance routes that we have still on the schedule completed, hopefully before the asphalt plants close. That's another one of our goals there with that. And then we're working to move into preparations for the winter. As much as I hate it, if you, I've been around it all my life, and someday I hope that maybe I can say, boy, that's a pretty snow, and sit back and enjoy it, maybe when I'm retired. But I hate the word snow. It's one of those four-letter words to me, and I think a lot of our folks. But we are getting ready. We've got our equipment inspection scheduled in a couple of weeks to get ready to use those pieces of equipment this winter. We have 9 contractor vehicles that are signed up specifically for Dickinson County. If we need to, we can shift other resources around. We always do that through any storms that we have. And we have right around 3,000 tons of salt on hand, 2,000 at our old Fremont office that we're still working out of, and 1,000 up on the Red Onion site that we have, the facility that we reinstated up there. I will note, though, that we, at our new Fremont facility, we've got bids that are going out for a new salt storage up there that we will be able to store about another 3,000 tons of salt up there with that. So hopefully we will be able to keep that location stocked up and then still use our old Fremont site is the plan for salt storage and the Red Onion site. So our salt capacity and storage should be increasing as we go along here in the next year or so. So that's pretty much what I have. I do want to point out an editing error that we failed to catch until just a few minutes ago. The work order page that's on the second page there, that should be for the period of the last 3 months. It says January the 1st, 2023 to December 31st, but that's actually just what we had in this last quarter. So we've had about 136 total work orders. Been very proud of our staff at Fremont. They have been working hard to try to take care of calls that come in as timely as they can. I challenged them to make an improvement with that, and they've stepped up, and I've been really proud of them there with that. So those are some of the highlighted numbers of things that are kind of key there for us. So with that, I'm going to ask Wade to come up, and Wade can travel down all the little roads and hollers with you and address the things that he's been working on with y'all too. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
All right, thank you.
Oh, Wade.
Hey, Wade Belcher. I'm Alan's assistant administrator for the Wise Residency. just wanted to go over a few things with some of you all that you all have either brought up to me personally or the headquarters. Let you know where we're at with some of those things. Miss Willis, we cut back Route 72 at the 83 intersection for sight distance. I think you had talked to Greg about that one.
Right.
Patch some potholes and working on extending the pipe there at the fire department that we've discussed several times on Caney Ridge. And we did patch some potholes on Route 72. It's not on this list, but I think you had discussed with me some rock house and Caney Ridge striping. Both of those routes are going to be getting resurfaced next year. So they'll restripe those after they resurface them.
But the striping really helped.
Yeah, one of them is, I think it's Rock House is getting paved and Caney Ridge is getting a latex treatment on it. Miss Sluss, they cut back Route 885 at the 83 intersection for some sight distance there.
Excuse me, Wade, what is 885?
Don't have a map in front of me, Rhonda, I'm sorry, I
I don't know
can't.
what 885 is.
Just off the top of my head, I can't. It's something that you've called Greg Lyle about there at the headquarters. They also replaced a 24-inch pipe for you on Fairview, Route 729.
That's not my district, but that's okay. That's Willis District.
And then Snowball Hollow, we do have that on the 2026 paving schedule. And I know you've brought up the drainage issues there a few times, and we're waiting on permits there to replace some pipes for you on Snowball.
This is the one that goes up to the spearhead.
Yeah, the spearhead there.
Okay.
And it'll be on the, unfortunately, it's not on next year's schedule, but it'll be the summer after in 2026.
Can I ask you one thing?
Sure.
Madam Chairman, may I ask you one thing? Right there at the four-way, when you're coming from Fremont, at night, I've been to some meetings in Lebanon, when I come up from 83 west, I guess, it's coming towards Clintwood, and I turn off left there at the four-way because I live on Caney Ridge. I've come several times to hitting that guardrail because I think I asked you or one of you to put up some arrows there, reflectors.
Did the reflectors not help? I
No.
got them some.
Are they up? They're not up, I don't
They're
believe.
not up. I think they got
Okay.
those little tiny things up, but you can't see them very well.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
talking about the yellow ones.
You're talking about like the actual signs?
Yeah,
The big sign.
you've
Okay,
got
I'll
some
check
right
into
on the
that. We
right
put
there.
We put some small white
Yeah,
reflectors
they're
on the
not,
guardrail.
they're
there,
not
but
helping
we'll-
it.
Okay.
I about hit it the other night.
I'll talk with the sign crew and see if they can put some, we call them chevrons. It's the
Okay.
yellow sign with the black arrow on
Uh-huh.
it. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
well, you got some right there on the right before you get to that intersection.
Yeah.
But when you turn to go up County Ridge.
You lose it.
Yeah, you lose it, and you about come hit the guardrail. In fact, I did hit the guardrail going to the four-way one time.
If I can jump back in while he's making notes, 885, that's right down here at the intersection and down here.
Oh,
okay. And 83, that's been brought up about trying to improve the sight distance down there.
Yeah.
We also looked at that to try to see about cutting the bank back because we had members, that actually came up in the code committee meeting that we had.
Yeah, now I got you.
And we found out that we thought that was our right of way there, and it doesn't go very far at all. So we don't own the property to be able to do that.
Well, just cutting it was sufficient, I think.
I think it was Mr. Newberry brought it up at a coal severance meeting and we checked it.
And I
right
think
after
Angie
that.
Rakes had brought it up to me, but.
But that's where that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I drew a
Thank
blank on the
you.
route number. We got so many routes, it's hard to remember them all.
What about the one that I've called about so many times? Right up from Snowball Hollow, you turn left, Whispering Pines, or is that what it's called?
Did they were supposed to do some patching out there.
It may have done some patching, but that thing's been patched. It's patched. The patches need patches.
Yeah, I had, I gave, the last time we spoke about that, I gave that to Dave to try to get it on the paving schedule. Unfortunately, it might take couple of years to get it on the schedule. That's something that's set like 2 years in advance, our paving schedules are, so it could be 26 or 27 before it's on there, but we'll try to keep it patched as best we can.
Oh, are you still saying 2 years for the roundabout at the 4A?
No, actually, I was getting ready to tell you.
Oh, good.
It
What?
went out to, it's either they've already closed the bids on it or it's out for bids right now. So the last I heard from construction is they were thinking about 6 months for construction to start.
I noticed they've been doing putting some flags up and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I noticed today you'd mowed, I
Yeah,
think,
like
where
Alan
all
said,
those signs are.
Yeah.
Did you have to pull the signs up?
Well, I didn't, it wasn't us that mowed it. It would have been a contractor, so I don't know if they had to pull them up or not, but.
But they mowed it today, I think, or
Yeah.
yesterday one, because I noticed that. So you're talking about maybe starting construction on the roundabout in
That-
6 months?
That's what construction told me the last time I talked to them. It'd be
Hallelujah.
about 6 months after the bids
Be
closed.
spring,
So,
it'd
yeah.
be spring.
Spring? Well, we do have a lot of traffic there now that all the schools go up to Ridgeview now.
Yeah.
The elementary, Clintwood Elementary was the last one that went up there. It's a quite dangerous place to pull out at certain times,
Yeah.
especially when school's in session. So, man, I'm glad to hear 6 months instead of 2 years.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wade.
You're welcome. Ms. Kaiser, 652 Neely Ridge, they've cut that back for you for sight distance, and they got the secondary mowing completed on 661 Dog Branch, but like Alan said, some of our higher volume secondaries, we're gonna try to cut a third time, some of those, so be a couple of routes in each one of your districts, I'm sure, will get cut a third time. Mr. Thacker, we replaced two 24-inch pipes for you on Rocky Gap. The road was graded and stone was added. We patched there in front of the mailboxes at that, forget the name of it. It's off of 83 right there. You know what I'm talking about. Going towards Van Sant. We're waiting on permits for a pipe on Laurel Branch. Lazarus Branch, we were waiting on an asphalt contract so we could patch those. We just got that contract in place today, so we should be able to get that done for you fairly soon. Henry Harrison Drive, we did some patching on that, and that's scheduled to be paved in 2025. Then, as we talked before the meeting, you saw the pipe that we just installed between New Peoples and Pizza Plus there in Hayside, so that should take care of that water standing in the road there.
Very pleased about that.
Mr. Hall, I know he's on the phone. We patched some potholes on Route 700 Big Smith Ridge for you. That's all I've got for an update. Anybody have anything you need us to look at?
Yeah, I do. If you would, I need y'all to take a look at the Breaks Park Road. It's like running on a chug hole racetrack coming back on 80 West. It's terrible coming down through there. I patrol that almost every day, and it'll knock your vehicle out of line. The road is so bad where it has been patched, and whoever patched it, they left huge gaps in between the patching, and it drive down through there. I would just drive from Hayside to the Breaks and turn around and drive back, and you'll see it'll beat your vehicle to death.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something, it's maybe on your plans for the near future. I'm not sure, but if it's not, it's something we need to look at, because it's really bad. And the Breaks is, one of our highest drawing areas for tourism in the county.
Our the paving schedules, as far as what gets paved every year on primary routes, is determined out of our district office in Bristol. We do the maintenance on them, but I can check with them to see if they got anything coming up over there on the schedule, and we'll look at doing some patching over there.
Yeah,
get it by until then.
It's pretty rough. It does need some work.
And then Mr. Hampton wrote down in his notes the issue we talked about at the rescue squad there before the meeting, so we'll be looking at that for you.
And I think on Lazarus Branch here, that one pothole that keeps returning, they keep going up and patching it, it keeps sinking. I think it's gonna be a drain pipe issue that's rusted through and it's gonna have to be replaced because I know of 2 or 3 vehicles, I've had calls from people that lives up there that's actually been knocked out of line from that hole, you know, at one time was so bad that it would knock your vehicle out of line if you run in.
Yeah, I discussed that issue with the headquarters yesterday in preparation for this meeting, and it's gonna be a more substantial repair than just putting some asphalt in it. So we're aware of that, and we're gonna take care of whatever needs to be done there for you.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I got a text here that I had sent back on September the 12th about Neely Ridge Road. The address is 2925 Hell Mountain that runs off of Neely Ridge there. The lady says that since they have paved that road or recoated it, the water is running off over onto their property. Don't know if they missed elevating it or what they done. But anyway, because I had sent in, says it's coming from the main road, from Brian and Misty McKinney's, I guess, and didn't list, and says that she owns the property and the rain is runoff from the road is coming over onto their, her property where her son lives. And she was wanting that looked at to see about how that elevation is, about how that water is running. And I sent that in on September 12th. And then I sent one in, and evidently this person that's been calling me, it must be in Richards, because this was on Rocky Gap Hollow, that she said they had been in the area, said that their road isn't paved, but VDOT had been, has paved Rock Lick sometime back and had been up there working on this drain pipe and that, and she was wanting to know when Rocky Gap Hollow might get paved, because it is not paved.
Well, as you're aware, all the gravel roads are paved under the secondary 6-year plan.
Yeah.
You know, and that money, unfortunately, Dickinson County doesn't have many gravel roads, so you don't get much money going into that every year, and, you know, so we'll just have to wait until that fund builds up in the county before that can be done.
Yeah, I think I had sent you that text. That other text I had sent in, I had texted in back in September, I had sent to David, and then I had sent you that one about that Rocky Gap Road a few weeks back.
Yeah, unfortunately, that we just can't pave the gravel road until the money's there in the 6-year plan to do it.
Okay.
I know we do have some projects on out in the 6-year plan sometime. I'm not sure if Rocky Gap's one of them. I think we've got two projects in the plan on the out years, I think. But it's nothing anytime soon.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, I have one more.
All right, go ahead.
Out here in Clintwood, the town of Clintwood has bought 2 residents there at Advance Auto. They want to be able to turn into Market Street.
Mhm.
I think Market Street belongs to the town. I don't think it's on the VDOT. Have you talked to the mayor about that?
I haven't. That's what I was
Joey
gonna say.
Mullins, our land use engineer, has been talking with people about that.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Hey, Wade, how are you?
Hey, Chris.
The hydrology reports that I've requested sometime back on Brush Creek and Burkett,
Yeah.
have we made any progress on finding those or getting those?
Mr. Hampton just nodded to me and said that he had sent them to you, Chris. Oh, he's got them to send to you. I'm sorry. I thought he was telling me he sent them to you. But we do have both of those reports, and I did get it cleared through hydrology that we could possibly do a pipe replacement on Bear Pin. Both of those issues, Chris, are going to be a funding issue. They're both really costly projects. Something that's, outside of our maintenance budget to be able to afford, so I don't, we'll have to discuss some way to pursue those projects.
Yeah, well, like the Brush Creek, I mean, that's a road hazard. When it rains, the water shoots up through the DI. It's actually supposed to grate out of the DI, and you get the water running across the road. In wintertime, it freezes. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty big hazard there. So I don't know. We're gonna have to work on something there.
Yeah, and I think you'll see from the hydrology report that Dave's gonna send you, we've done quite a bit of work down through there in the past to try to help that issue, and it's gonna be a really costly project that we're gonna have to, discuss some sort of funding apparatus to get that taken care of.
And I would just like to mention, I drove around through my district here last week or so, and the brush that is grown into the roadways has become pretty hazardous as far as passing cars, because the roads are fairly narrow. Anyway, you said you're all working on some of the secondaries. I appreciate it if you take a look, especially down through 611. It's getting pretty narrow.
Okay, we'll take a look at it, Chris, and we do have, we got some extra rental equipment in for our guys to help with issues like that, to help cut back some right away. We'll look at it and see what we can do down through there, okay?
All right, and a couple more things. I'm working on the Lake Road, some signage to have some length restrictions on the trucks traveling Lake Road.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another pretty hazardous situation there, especially in the winter. If we could try to get something done there before winter time, that would be great.
I've made that request through our traffic engineering division, Chris. I'll check and get an update from that. I know Richard's brought that one up to me from the Hayside end too. And I have passed that along to our traffic engineering division, but I'll see if I can get an update on what their plan is and what their timeline is for that.
Okay. All right, and one more thing. I've got some striping down on Lake Road. Of course, anytime you're near a body of water, the fog gets really thick and it's kind of hazardous. So we've got some roadway that doesn't have any striping down for the lake. Had several requests to look at that and get that kind of marked so people could drive safely in the fog.
Okay, I'll talk with our paint crew about that. Chris, it's getting about towards the end of their painting season though, because they can't paint once the weather gets so cold. But I'll talk with them and see if there's anything that can be done down there before winter, and if not, I'll try to get it on our schedule for next year to be repainted, okay?
Okay, I've been talking to Greg about it. He said he did have a request in for it.
Yeah.
I didn't know, y'all could do anything to help that along or not, but I think that's all I've got.
Okay.
I have to say one more thing.
Yes, you
I traveled to the breaks Sunday, and I back up what Richard said, because me and my husband both was talking about how rough that road was with the traffic and how many vehicles was down through there with the watercraft boards, whitewater rafting and stuff, so that road is pretty bad. And I'm also glad to see all of these tree trunks and brush that you all are cleaning up out of the ditch lines. I'm glad to see that. Somebody drop off in a ditch line and hit one of them, you're gonna run the front of your car. So I was glad to see y'all cleaning up all that tree debris in the ditch lines and on the banks.
I appreciate all you clean up in my district, because I had a lot of damage in my district. And I saw y'all everywhere. I saw VDOT's trucks loaded with debris everywhere.
Yeah, I had to.
And I appreciate what y'all did to help us get cleaned up.
Well,
I appreciate what you do when I contact you also, because you do a great job. And Al, I appreciate you and Dave. I appreciate you. I appreciate all that you do.
Well, thank you.
Does any of the board members got any other questions? Thank you all for coming and updating us and listening to our complaints also.
So if we'll coordinate with Mr. Barton on timing, but we'll be back January or February again for our
Okay.
next update.
Let's hope it don't snow.
Yeah, that's why I said we'll coordinate with him. It's on the snow.
I have a great grandson that loves snow. He can't wait for it to snow.
I used to be that way about 53 years ago.
He wanted me to take him to the High Knobs and let him see the snow that came last week, I believe it was. And I said, I'm not driving up there.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. He wanted to see the first snow.
Pretty good, how you?
We don't get snow like we used to.
Okay, now we're down to new business. The first thing on our new business, and I appreciate everything that VDOT does for us, and they've had a terrible time cleaning that. It was throughout the county, throughout my district almost. And I saw them cleaning, I went to Abington yesterday, and they were cleaning debris over in Abington. It was just like in one spot over in Abington where it hit. And they were cleaning it up yesterday.
Easy.
Okay, our new business is our board appointments. And we have the first one on the agenda is our Board of Building Code Appeals. And I noticed that Rayburn Fletcher and Nathan Ramey's appointments are up. What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to reappoint Raven Fletcher. He said he would serve, if that's
That's
okay.
fine. We can do them both at the same time, I think, can't we? Or you want to separate?
We can, if there's different nominations, then we take in the order of the nominations, but if there's not any opposition, we can do them both at the same time.
Okay. Is there any other appointments, or Nathan's is up, Nathan Ramey's is up? Do I have a motion to replace him or put him back on?
Motion to reappoint him.
Reappoint him? Okay. We have a motion to reappoint Rayburn Fletcher and also to reappoint Nathan Ramey. Is there any other nominations? Hearing none, do I have a second to, you made the second? Or you made the motion?
You don't have to have a second. It's nomination.
You don't have to have a second, all right. So, Ms. Luss, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. So, Rayburn Fletcher and Nathan Ramey will be reappointed. It's what, 3-year term, 2-year terms?
3 years.
Nathan's is 3. And I know Gray Edwards is 2. What's the difference in them?
I don't know. We got Kermit Mullins and Gray's are 2
Is
year.
2. Why would
I
they
guess
be
it's a rotation because we got 2 2-year, 2 3-year, and 1 4-year. So that we have a rotation.
I guess that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is our Industrial Development Authority, and we have a letter that Butch Lambert had resigned due to illness in his family, I think.
Yes.
And that's Peggy's appointment, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I have talked with, and I would like to submit Matthew Dingus for that.
I'll second it. Or do y'all have to say,
You don't have to.
You don't have to second
do
it.
you? Oh.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to appoint Matthew Dingus for Ms. Kaiser's appointment. Do I have a second?
You don't need one. they
Don't
said.
need one.
Don't need one, all right. So, do we have any more nominations for that appointment? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Thacker, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. And the
Thank you all.
next one is the VACOR board election. This is where we vote at VACO meeting, correct?
We have two, Madam Chair. The first one is going to be for VACOR, our insurance carrier, and there are three current individuals seeking reelection for the supervisory board of the VACOR Insurance Company. And the board has an option of nominating someone else for this, or to vote for one of those three members that are listed in your handout there. It's
Amity Moeller and
yes,
Christian
and
Goodwin.
Christian Goodwin and or Douglas Stanley. So
So do we want to appoint anyone else? What's the pleasure of the board?
To appoint somebody else, could it be somebody from our board, or could it
it
be?
can be, to be eligible, it has to be
The chairman
Yeah. Okay.
It has to be,
Member of the governing body,
yeah, I read that a minute ago.
I read it somewhere.
Chief administrative officer, or member.
Has to be an administrative
Chief
office,
administrative officer, or member of the governing body, right? He can be a board member or.
Okay.
or it could be you.
So you could appoint Larry, is that?
You can appoint Larry. Larry, are you interested in it?
You can if you want to. I mean, it's
Too far, I don't know these other
Would you
people.
have to go to meetings or Zoom meetings or?
well, it's gonna be like a statewide thing, so it would just be one name coming in.
Oh.
We've got three seeking reelection, so.
Oh. You don't know if you would get it or not.
Correct.
Right.
You
I'm
just,
not
we're
seeking-
just voting to submit a name.
That's correct. It's not saying that he would actually, he or
Sure.
anybody would serve in the capacity. There's three that's seeking reelection, but they're also allowing other nominations to come in.
When do they vote on this? We vote on it at the,
It'll be on Sunday morning at their 10 o'clock annual business meeting they always have. So
at the
VACOR, I mean, at the VACO.
VACO meeting? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. What's the pleasure of the board? We want to nominate Larry to be considered?
We can do that, or we can just pass, whatever the pleasure of the board is, so.
What's the pleasure of the board? Ms. Kaiser?
What?
He's got an awfully lot on his plate now. But like you said, I mean, it's no
know he would
guarantee
do
that
a
he
good-
would
great job.
get the election, you know.
Well, let's submit his name. Let's see
It
where
can't
he
hurt.
goes.
Can't
Let's see-
hurt.
see where he goes.
Yeah, because these other people are Page County, Louisa County, and Prince Edward County.
Yeah, it's
So
all the
let's-
Northern
yeah,
Virginia.
let's, I make a motion, we submit Larry Barton's name to that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll second it. So Larry, will you fill this out and get it sent in?
We'll take care of that.
All right,
If you vote.
I guess there needs to be a motion to approve it too.
okay.
But because you've got the motion in a second, but we need to actually
Take a
have a
vote.
vote.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have a vote. Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Larry Martin as a nominee for this VACOR annual meeting. How do you vote, Mrs. Les?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And did you get the motion? We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did.
And Mr. Hall, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I also. So you can fill it out. Send it
Thank
in.
you.
And we'll
Ms.
campaign
Lyle will
for
do
you. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is our Virginia Associations of Counties.
Madam Chair, this is the one where we have to designate who would cast the vote for Dickinson County during the annual business meeting at the upcoming VACO conference. We'll have Chris Hall and Rhonda Sluss in attendance, so we'll need to nominate one of them as the voting delegate and one as the alternate, so.
Okay. Well, I know they do it early in the morning. So, let's nominate Chris to do the voting and Rhonda as a substitute. Is that okay? Secondary? Because Rhonda, Chris can get ready probably faster than.
Well, it ends that day anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
on the last
closing thing. It starts at 10 o'clock for VACO to end. So,
Well, it doesn't matter who votes. It's,
And just casting the county's ballot on the issues.
that was just my, what's your suggestion? Anyone else want to change it? Rhonda, you want to change it?
Was that the last day?
It's the last
Yes,
day
ma'am.
of the meeting.
And what do you vote on?
There will be, we don't have that information yet, but we'll have that once we get there, that we're gonna be approving like their legislative agenda, the things they're looking at, and
It
any
start-
other business that they have, so. And we always talk about those as a group.
Well, I don't think it matters to me. I don't care. He can vote. If he's not there, I'll vote. And
It's not that important.
No,
It's just
I'm not-
that you
I don't think it
represent your
matters.
county and you're there.
there.
So is it, would I need a motion and a second to
You just need a nomination.
a nomination?
Right.
And she made the
I made a
motion.
nomination for Chris
Correct.
first and Rhonda second.
Correct.
Is that okay?
Yep, and we just need to vote.
Men can usually get downstairs and get dressed faster than women can.
Ooh, I made all of them when I went.
Well, I did too, but sometimes for that. Now, used to they had one like 7 o'clock in the morning that you voted on, and you had to be there to vote on it.
Yeah, this one starts, after that closing session, but I don't remember the times. I'd have to look at the agenda, so.
Because I let Ron Peters do the voting on that because he was always up earlier.
It says it is held on Tuesday, November the 12th at the Omni Homestead Resort beginning at 10 a.m.
There you go.
Yeah, they used to have it
First paragraph.
about 7:30 or 8. They used to have it before breakfast of a morning. And Ron, I know Mr. Peters would always do it. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is all.
We need to
Still
vote
need
for
to
that.
vote on the nomination.
Oh, vote on nomination, sorry. Ms. Suss, how do you vote?
yeah,
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And I also, and Mr. Hall? Aye. Okay, so, got that taken care of. The next thing then on the agenda is our leases.
Madam Chair, the first lease that we have is going to be the Carroll Buchanan Estate and the Board of Supervisors, and this is the lease of the property that's occupied by the Dickens County Chamber of Commerce. And this lease, of course, is the same lease. It's been renewed for many years now, since 2006. It's $1 a year. And of course, our next item is going to be the sublease with us leasing to the Chamber of Commerce. So there's been no changes to this.
is she still alive? I didn't
No,
think
it's
she
our
was.
estate, so.
It's Thursday. Okay, what's the pleasure of the board to renew this lease?
I'll make a
Carroll
motion.
Buchanan Estate.
I'll make a motion that renew this lease.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to renew the Carroll Buchanan Estate lease to the Board of Supervisors. Ms. Celeste, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker? And
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. And the next thing on the agenda is to sublease the same building to the Chamber of Commerce to use.
And again, there's no changes to this. This lease has been in
They're
effect
just
since
the same
2008.
leases we've been having for years.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make that motion that we sublease that to the Chamber of Commerce.
I hear a second. A motion and a second to sublease this to the Chamber of Commerce. How do you vote, Mrs. Kaiser?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Mrs. Celeste?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. And the next thing is the Joseph and Deneen McAvee lease, and this is our substitute
This is our
voting.
substitute voting location for Frying Pan
Frying
District. They
Pan,
live
yeah.
next to the Sulphur Springs School, and, fortunately, we've not had to use that now. We've got some people doing some work down at the old school right now, getting the floors repaired and making some other repairs. We should be good to go with the school on election day, but it's all, we always have to have a backup
Backup, and
location,
it's
so.
the McAvee's, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we extend this lease again for another year.
A second.
A motion and a second to go into the lease with Joseph and Denise McAvee. Ms. Celeste, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye as
And
well.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. Now, the next thing on the agenda is the
This
resolution.
resolution here, and Mr. Sturgill got that completed today, so.
Okay.
Madam Chair, on this resolution, myself, Nathan Mullins, Ron Kendrick, and Virginia Department of Emergency Services, Mr. Ron Lichmore, we had a conversation last week. We met on this, and what Clintwood Rescue is looking to do on this is, right now, they are having difficulty in maintaining two licensed EMS officials to run ALS calls. And 12 VAC 531-1250 states that advanced life support transportation requirements include item 3, an attendant must be certified as an emergency medical technician or an equivalent approved by the Office of EMS in addition to the attendant in charge. And basically it's saying they can't just have a driver and an EMT running these calls. They need to have 2 certified individuals. And what they're asking for, Mr. Mullins and the squad are offering some classes and some training in order to try to recruit more members and be able to get more certified individuals to serve. But they're asking for a waiver for the state for 24 months to relieve them from this provision while they're trying to get additional staff in place. And Mr. Mullins feels confident he can do this. And before the state will look at this and granting this exemption, 24-month exemption, the governing body has to approve them requesting this. So they're here before you tonight. Mr. Mullins couldn't make the meeting. I told him I could cover this, but just asking, your blessing on allowing them to ask for this exemption from the state.
So they have to have a resolution to ask for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak for a second on that?
Yes.
I would like for you to add Hayside in on that. I didn't know about the meeting, or I would have been there. But we would be included, I think, in that, or should
We
be.
do a separate resolution for them and have them approve it and you draft that, so.
Yes.
We need to amend the agenda if we add that at this time.
Can we make the motion that
we'd have
we
to have
pass
two
this
sti-
resolution?
We'll have to do one separate from Clintwood, and I was asking
Okay.
Mr. Sturgill our process, but we can,
To me, we'd have to amend the agenda to put.
and then discuss
Hayside.
theirs, and they can approve it, and then we can do the agenda and.
Correct.
Okay, so let's take care of Clintwood, and then we'll go through the
Okay,
steps
then
and get you taken
we'll see
care
how
of.
to
So,
take care of that. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Bartley, I was just invited to this on behalf of Clintwood. I wasn't aware it may have affected you, or I would have, I didn't initiate it, so.
Anything that affects one will probably affect the other. Anytime you need me for something, if you'll email me or call me,
Sure.
I will manage to do that.
Sounds great, so.
So we need a motion to pass this resolution then for Clintwood.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll make the motion, we pass the resolution.
Did I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second that we pass this resolution for Clintwood Rescue Squad. Correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. And we have a motion and a second. Ms. Celeste, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And I forgot to ask you if there's any discussion. I
Does
said
this
I
need to
missed-
be read?
And
No.
Mr. Hall
Larry already,
also.
Larry covered the specifics of the
Okay.
resolution.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just asking for an extension
Okay.
for
Correct.
24 minutes, okay.
Okay.
Now we'll need to go back and amend the agenda to add the resolution for Hayside on there as well.
Okay, I need a motion to amend the agenda then.
I'll make that motion to amend the agenda to add Hayside Rescue Squad.
Madam Chair, this will be item 8C3. We'll put that after the Sandy Ridge, and we'll do Hayside 8C3.
It'll be A3C.
It'll be right after Sandy Ridge. We'll do Hayside Rescue.
I will second Rhonda's motion.
I have a motion and a second. And you said it's 8. C3,
Uh-huh.
that we add Hayside to this or add a resolution, the same effect with Hayside, with the same writing, except put Hayside in it.
Right, we're just amending the agenda right now and then.
Yeah,
we'll
we're
have-
just doing the agenda.
Okay. Okay. I need a motion to amend the agenda, and you made it. Did you second it? Peggy.
I second it.
Okay, have a motion and a second that we approve or change our agenda to add Hayside Rescue Squad. How do you vote? Any discussion? How do you vote, Mrs. Sledge?
Yes.
And Mr. Packer?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser? And also, and Mr. Hall? Okay, the agenda has been adjusted. Now, we need a motion to,
We'll
do
have
the
8C.
resolution.
We'll have 8C2 right now, which will be Sandy Ridge, so we'll bring Jeremy up if he wouldn't mind. And
Okay,
Sharon, we've had him down for a resolution, but we learned, I'd asked during this one phone call, and what he's bringing before the board does not actually require a resolution, and Mr. Sturgill confirmed that. He just has to make the board aware of this, basically,
Okay.
so.
You ready for me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Jeremy Unseth, Captain of Sandy Ridge Rescue. Sandy Ridge Rescue Squad's been advanced life support for just a little over 4 years. In that time being advanced life support, we haven't hardly used any of it. The drug box exchange program is ending on November 27th. For us to be able to maintain the medications, the narcotic medications, et cetera, we don't have the space for one. For two, our ALS personnel more or less doesn't use the medications as often as other agencies do. So as far as right now with the hospitals, we're turning more expired drug boxes because we're just not using them. So with that being said, our rescue squad's discussed it, and we're gonna letting y'all know that we're gonna take a step back to basic life support for the time being. If, of course, we build more ALS members or get a larger space station from what we have now, we may reconsider going back to ALS later.
They don't have to vote on anything, is it? They just be made aware.
Just have to be notified.
he just notifies, so we
Just
don't have to take no
notify, you don't
action
take
on
any
it.
action, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome, and thank y'all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Now, am I at 80?
Hayside,
Okay. Now we need a motion to pass a resolution for Hayside Rescue Squad, same as we did for the Clintwood Rescue Squad, to extend their request to the 24 months for the EMS.
Yes, ma'am, it'll be the exact same thing on Little Estate. Hayside Rescue, Mr. Bartley, do you have?
May I speak for a
Yes.
second? I'll speak on the same thing what Jeremy did there. I'm Terry Bartley. I live at 569 Wagon Trail on Big Ridge. I've been at Hayside Rescue, this will make me 32 years next month. But on that drug box exchange program, it's gonna be real expensive. I'm in the process right now of building a room in our station. Hopefully I can get it passed to store our drugs. We're gonna try to keep from backing down from ALS standard. I'm the only member that's running right now, have been for the past several months. I wrote very few calls. Doctor appointments or wife's doctor appointments is about the only calls I've wrote. I'm gonna try to continue on. I've got one member now that, an EMT that says she's gonna try to help us out some. So maybe I'll get a little break on that. But I am in the process of building a drug room. I've done got the safe in it. Got it secured, I think, hopefully with the standard that, I believe the CSR license, I've applied for it, and I was informed last week that I've got it. I haven't received the license yet, but he said it may be 3 or 4 weeks before I get that. But they're wanting to come and inspect the room, and I don't hardly have it done. But as soon as I get it done, I'm gonna call for that.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, may I ask a question? What are these drugs?
The whole drug box that we carry on our ambulances is for ALS people to use. It runs from, used to be morphine down, heart drugs, all of that kind of stuff, glucagon for low blood sugar, all different kinds. I've got a list of them already.
Well, that's okay.
Like to see it, I'll give you a list to let you look at it.
No, well, I understand.
But it's,
I don't need to
it's
look at
about $1,200 worth of drugs on each ambulance that we have to carry. I had pharmacy price it for me.
And
You don't have to pay for it?
We will have to start paying for it.
the hospital's been giving it to you?
The state, I think, has been furnishing it for the hospitals. I'm not sure exactly how that
So they
works.
stopped that?
So all we had to do was take the drug box into the hospital and exchange it and sign it and put it back on our truck, and they would get it refilled at Norton, and it would come back.
But they're not going, no longer going to do that?
As of November the 27th.
That's going to cost you guys more money, right?
Well, just like I told you, every drug you use after that day, you'll pay for it.
Hmm.
And I'd hate to see them go back to BLS trucks. It's been ALS ever since before I even started.
Is that advanced life support? What's
Yes,
it stands for? Well, I hate for it. So if somebody like is in a diabetic coma or
We can give them.
you can give them,
Glucagon, D50.
but now
And
Clintwood
most time
won't be
we'll
able to do that because they're
Clintwood
going,
they're working on their drug box.
so they got to ask for this
Sandy
waiver.
Ridge said they wasn't gonna do theirs, right? That's what,
Sandy Ridge said they wasn't.
but they was
right.
not gonna
Yeah.
participate in.
But I am trying to do it for ASAP.
If you're the person laying there needing it, you'll want it bad, won't you?
That's right.
I'd save lives.
Well, if it was one of your family members.
Yeah, or me, or some, my
Yeah.
family, yeah.
Yeah, it's something, I know we need. And, for the long transport from Hayside to the hospital, it's even more critical. Last week, I worked, a call with Clintwood, actually, and I went as ALS backup for him. It was an overdose, and he was back up.
I don't guess a regular EMT can do that, don't you have to be?
They can do the nasal Narcan, they can't do the, IV.
Isn't there something called EMT A, B, and C and all that?
Yeah, there's EMT enhanced can do it, if I'm not mistaken on that, and give maybe the Narcan. And the intermediate can give anything we carry in the drug.
Well, I noticed, I know when my mother passed, they had to intubate her.
Yeah.
But they had to stop at the place to get somebody on board to do it.
Uh-huh.
Because the two that were, the driver and the board that was taking care of her couldn't do it.
Right. They were probably an EMT and a driver.
That's the same thing you're needing too.
That's scary though.
Well, the scary part is when you go back to school to try to get that intermediate or paramedic.
Is that the reason they stopped and got this girl? I can't remember. She stopped and she
Probably.
intubated my
Probably.
mother.
Yeah.
Thank you, Drew.
Mr. Bartley, we have,
Yes.
Sorry.
As part of this resolution, it also requires an action plan from the state that we have to give.
show how you're gonna get back in compliance by
Yeah.
having to, so.
Correct.
Clintwood is doing a training program in order to try to train people and get more members involved. Would you do something similar to that? Is that?
Well, I've been trying for years to get more members.
They had stopped.
So far, I don't have another qualified person. I have one in class right now that will test out hopefully this month. Give me a copy of it. I'll talk to you on Thursday. How's that? Can I bring it to you Thursday? Get with you Thursday on it?
Well, it's important for the resolution wording tonight because that's part of what they require as part of the resolution. It's an action plan as far as being compliant.
If you're gonna do training, then.
And if it's training, that's what Clintwood's doing, so that's what we're.
I'm putting members in classes.
So we'll say the same thing, and it'll be the same.
To try to get it, but so far I've not got nobody else.
Okay. That'll
But I
work,
have
so,
one that will test this month. He passed his practice.
good, that's great news, so. All right, thank you, Terry.
So do we
Chair,
go
so we're ready to
ahead
vote on
with
that?
the resolution?
We do. I've got a draft copy on the printer. I'll just have to bring it up for y'all to sign, but it's the same thing as what we have here on it.
So
says
it's the
Hayside.
same as this?
Same, it just says Hayside instead of Clintwood, so.
Okay. Okay, then we would need a motion. Do we have that motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we need a motion then to add Hayside,
I'll make
a
that
resolution to this.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second to add Hayside resolution. A motion for Hayside to have the same resolution. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Ms. Celeste? Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. Now, Sandy Ridge has already spoke, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
Clintwood Rescue.
So we're down to
Recovery.
funding request.
Yeah, number D.
And this is even an
D1.
online version, but I've got a print copy as well for you. Madam Chair, what this is for, with our, I always want to say drug court, with our recovery court program, there were some changes made this year, and that's the last sheet of this that shows the policy. When drug testing is performed, the judges want the results back within 48 hours, so an appropriate action can be taken quickly. And the current testing methods that are being used right now are no longer considered an allowable test with the new standards established by the state. And so Cheryl Robinette is our drug court coordinator in the county, and she's also working with Buchanan County, Russell County, and Tazewell County. We're all in the same situation with that. She's been trying to find a solution. And so far, the only solution she has found is working through Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech has a courier service that runs in this area, and they have agreed to do the testing and have agreed that from the collection, from the time that our people do the collection till within 48 hours, the results will be back for the judge. But to do so, Virginia Tech is not equipped to do this type of drug testing that is needed, and they're needing a piece of equipment, which is the second sheet in here, is the quote that Virginia Tech got on this. And being an educational institution, they got a pretty significant discount, but the equipment is $74,727. So in the cover letter, Ms. Robinette is asking each of the 4 counties to commit to their $18,681.80 from each county's local opioid abatement authority funding on this. So this is a needed service that would plug a gap that all 4 counties have in our recovery court system right now.
Has the other 4 counties voted on it or anything?
They have not yet. We're the first one to have a meeting, so, I might suggest if this is something that you all pass, and Mr. Sturgill, if it's allowable, but it would be contingent upon the other 3 counties doing the same thing. And I'll try to answer any questions based on the conversation I had with Cheryl, and of course, this letter and all this information was provided to you that she sent, given all the details as to why and how this came about, so.
Mr. Thacker, you work with this. So we would just pass it on the contingency that the other
That the other
4
three would do the
counties
same
would
thing.
go in, the other 3 counties would go in with us.
That's not from budget items, that's from the.
It is
That's
not.
from
It's a
the
separate fund,
opioid
separate from
funding
the-
that we
Yes,
received.
ma'am. That's received from the opioid settlement funds. And this is an allowable use of the funds as well. That's been cleared through Cheryl Newman at the opioid abatement authority, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve our portion of the funding.
Contingent upon.
Contingent on what the other 3
Yeah,
counties.
contingency on the other 3 counties also.
I think that's best, yeah.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve our part of with the opiate abatement, opiate funding to do this, thing with Virginia Tech, correct? Buy them a piece of equipment to do the
Do the
testing.
testing for us.
Is it faster if they do it, cause you have,
It is. We can't get the turnaround anywhere else with our location.
and the court wants it within what, 24?
Within 48 hours is what the
48.
state's passed went into effect in July, so we're currently not in compliance, so.
Okay, I have a motion and a second then Any other discussion on this?
Madam Chair, can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes, please.
Mr. Barton, this is for equipment purchase, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the equipment purchase is for the college,
Yes, it's for Virginia Tech.
for Virginia Tech. And do you know what kind of terms that they're setting up with this agreement? They say that a lot of them, if we purchase this equipment in 5 years from now, they say they can't do it anymore. We're kind of back in the same spot.
Correct. I have not seen the agreement or anything with Virginia Tech. The information I provided to the board is what Ms. Robinette had provided to us, and that's all that I have. But we'd be glad to get some information on that and get back with you on it, so.
Okay. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second, and we've had our discussion. Any other discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Celeste?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall? And I also. Those two. Now, we're ready, that's all of our business that we have ready to go into closed session?
Yes, ma'am.
We don't have no other business or anything?
No, we didn't have no
Okay.
other.
Yeah, okay.
Do I have a motion that we go into closed session?
I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1, A, Section 2.2-3711A1, Personnel, 1, County Administration, 2, Rental Assistance. Need a second?
Y'all need a break before we go into closed session or
Why don't
before
we get
we
me
start?
something to drink?
I'll second it.
To go into closed
Yeah,
session.
Rhonda seconded it, so.
Oh, okay, I got a vote. Rhonda?
Yeah, aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And I also.
Mr. Hall.
declare us out of closed session, and I need a certification for closed session.
I'll make a motion that whereas Dickinson County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to the affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors that a closed meeting was conducted in conformity with the Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted before open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Board of Supervisors. Dickinson County Board of Supervisors.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second that we only discuss those issues that we went into closed session for. How do you vote, Ms. Sluss? Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And I also. Now, the next thing on the agenda is, do we have any motions coming out of matters discussed in closed session?
I'll make a motion that we allow Candace to hire a full-time person in her office.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I would just like to make the public aware that according to the income that she gets in her department from the vouchers will cover letting her have a full-time employee, that it will not be coming out of the budget. We have not broke our budget yet.
Any other discussion before I call for a vote?
I'd like to mention one thing. The money that she brings in cannot be used for any other purpose but for her office.
Correct, Mr. Hall. Yes.
Correct. Any more discussion? Okay, I have a motion and a second that we allow her to hire a full-time employee from her funds. Ms. Celeste, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And I also. Okay. Any other motions coming out of closed session?
I don't think so.
Okay. No other motions. We will now go to item 13, schedule of public hearings, and one is to adopt an ordinance to allow the Dickinson County Circuit Court Clerk to pay one-time bonus November the 19th at 5:45 p.m. And the next public hearing will be adoption of the ordinance to allow county agencies to pay bonuses not to exceed $500 November the 19th at 5:50. Do I have a motion to schedule those public hearings?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second that we schedule those public hearings at our next meeting, November the 19th, 2024, and we're meeting a week early due to holidays. And number 14, we need to have a motion whether or not to do the payroll before Thanksgiving, November the 26th of 2024.
You need to back up to 13. You got to move in second, and you didn't call for vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Then we need a motion.
I made the motion, Rhonda seconded it.
And I didn't do a roll call?
No.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Ms. Celeste, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Thacker?
I abstain.
You abstain?
Yes, I would be the one getting the bonus.
Oh, you'll be getting a bonus.
Yes.
Ms. Kaiser, Mr. Hall,
Aye.
and I also. And the next one is the Christmas, is it both of them to be paid off, or do I need a motion for Christmas also?
Both the Thanksgiving and the Christmas, we can do them together as one motion though, I think, so.
Okay, so I won't need to do a motion for Christmas.
You just put it into one motion, the payroll before, everything in 14.
It goes together, okay.
Correct.
The Christmas payroll will be made December the 23rd, before Christmas holidays.
Right, and the Thanksgiving will be November 26th, so.
That's really the last paydays
It
of
is.
the
It's
month.
Normally it hits the 30th of the month, and so
Yeah.
that's just backing up so the employees get their pay before the holidays.
Before the holidays, yeah.
And they won't get the
We
following
do
pay
it
the
all the
15th
time.
of the following month.
Yeah.
And the same practice we always do, so.
Yeah, that's what's been done
But
since I've
thanks
been
for
here.
clarifying, it is the same.
Yeah, it's the same
End of
as
the
we've
month
done
payroll.
ever since I've been
Yeah.
here. Okay, we're down to 15, supervisors' comments.
I'll make the motion on number 14 to allow the payroll clerk to do payroll in November on the 26th and in December on the 23rd.
I thought we did those, did we not?
No.
We'll
I'll
second
second it.
Just second and a vote.
Okay, I need a vote. Okay.
Did you second that, Rhonda?
Yeah.
I thought you did. Ms. Kaiser, how do you vote? Mr. Thacker, how you vote?
Aye.
And Mrs. Slush?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. I thought we did those. And supervisors' comments. Mr. Hall, you want to be first tonight? So you can go collect beads?
No. No. I need to back up just a minute if I can and ask Larry or Will a question about number 13.
Sure.
My wife works for the commissioner's office. Do I need to abstain from that vote?
Yes, I would think so.
Yes, you would need to ultimately abstain from any vote on it. No,
This is just advertised, so
This is just to advertise, so to
Okay.
This is for a public hearing on it.
Right.
correct.
Okay, so I don't need to abstain from that part.
You don't have to abstain from it on that part. However, for the actual vote on it, I think absolutely you would have to.
Okay.
We're gonna vote no.
Okay, now for my comment. It's an honor to be down here representing Dixon County with Cumberland Plateau for the NATO thing. Meeting a lot of nice folks from other areas have kind of similar issues that we have with housing and economic development and kind of finding some unique ways to get around some issues. So it's been a trip well spent so far. I guess this was no cost to Dickinson County. It come out of Cumberland Plateau. I'm traveling with them, so definitely worth that. And it didn't come out of the county fund. And hopefully we can bring some much needed insight and opportunities to the county by doing these events and stuff and talking to other folks. So I just want to let everybody know that it's been a very well, a very informative trip that I think is going to pay off.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Are you finished? Mr. Hall, are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Rhonda, you want to be next? Miss Leslie?
Well, I want to wish everybody be safe for the Halloween, and I want to congratulate our Scholastic team for beating Union. And who else was it? Union and
I'm not sure.
but I'm very proud of them.
They beat you with.
They beat two schools, like I know one, Union was the one, maybe it was Abingdon, yeah, Abingdon. So I congratulate them on their win. And I want to urge everybody to go out and vote November the 5th, or early vote now if you want to.
Mr. Thackeray, and I wanted you to comment on your trip to Asheville. I want to give you that opportunity, and I forgot it.
I will.
I was going to do that public comment.
We went from the sheriff's office to Asheville, North Carolina, to assist with our drone team, to assist them with their recovery efforts down there. Everyone keep those folks in your prayer down that way. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. People walking around with no place to live, nothing to drive, struggling for food. It was very eye-opening and very heartbreaking, but it was also an honor to be there to help them with their recovery efforts. And I'd also like to thank VDOT and our fire departments and rescue squads. What's part of the storm we got here was devastating on Hazel Mountain and East Hazel Mountain, North Hazel Mountain, Brushy Ridge. We cut hundreds of trees out of the road that day. I'd like to thank our sheriff for being right out there with the chainsaw helping us, and of course our county administrator staying in touch with me. If they needed anything, he was there to help as usual. I just think I know some people got a lot of damage, but I think we were very blessed in what we did get versus what we could have got. But our fire departments were out there wading water in vehicles that had wrecked into the river. They had ropes tied to them, and they were checking vehicles, and our deputies was out in full force, fire and rescue in full force, and I just can't thank those folks enough. And I thank the board members I think we've had, since I've been in office, I'm the new guy here, me and Chris is, but our board has worked very close together to make sure that we've tried to stay within budget. Sometimes it's been hard. The decisions we've had to make has been tough. There's been a lot of criticism over a few things that we've done, but I would like to say that the Deputy Director of Finance position that we advertised for was in the budget. And if you were here the other night with Fire and Rescue with me and Larry, you would see that the hours he puts in is just unbelievable. I mean, he stays day and night at this building. I told him that when I worked full-time as emergency manager, I took a little bit of pride of being the first person here and the last one to leave a lot of days. And when he started, that was over with. He was here with his vehicles already cold by the time I got here, and he was still here when I left, no matter how late it was at night. People just don't realize the hours he puts in and the work he puts in. And I think we need to understand what the goal is. We're trying to climb a steep hill, but we're climbing that hill very straightforward. And we've got to have some help in the county administrator's office to assist him with not giving up his entire life for us, just 99% of it. And that's all I have. I just thank everybody.
Thank you, Richard. Ms. Kaiser, you're going to be next.
I just like to be like Richard. You hear people complaining and but they don't have power. What are they doing? I want to know who I can call, that I want to voice my opinion. But you know, when they stop to think, as VDOT told us tonight, they have an estimate of cleaning up over 400 trees. It don't happen overnight, people. And I think they've all tried. I think we've tried to be there the best that we could be. Appreciate Richard's effort of going to North Carolina to the helping what they could or what they would allow them to help with in the flood. I just appreciate everybody. The McClure Kiwanis is hosting the Fall Festival Saturday at McClure at the Little League Field from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It is free. They will have concessions, so if you want food, you'll have to buy your food, but everything inside the park, games, trick-or-treating, all of that stuff is free. I think they're doing an auction of some goods, ticket drawing for door prizes. So everybody that can come out. McClure's always had a big crowd at that fall festival. And there.
I would like to thank all of them that helped cut trees. I mean, we didn't have damage. My son that lives right beside him did, but anyway, it hit right in an area where I live, like a quarter of a mile each way. And I appreciate VDOT helping with the removal. I appreciate the fire department, rescue, whoever who helped with it. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all those people that come in here and restored power. I was without power over almost a week. But anyway, I appreciate them. They done a tremendous job. Everybody thought they wasn't working, but now they were really working. And I appreciate those people coming in also. But we've had we've had troubles in our county, but everybody pitched in and soon removed. And I appreciate what Mr. Barton does. I know he needs help, and I've always wanted him to have some help. And we couldn't never get it put in the budget and never could get time to do interviews. But we are going to try to get him some help till he can go home and spend some time with his family. His little girls are growing up. I see her pictures, and she's growing up fast.
That she is.
And he needs to spend some time with them. So we're hopeful we can get him some help. And we did budget it in our budget for him some help. We're just now getting around to doing the interviews. And that's all I have to say.
I want, Madam Chair, I want to say one thing. Puther Chapel is a center for the Operation Christmas Child. If you want to get a box and fill it up, it goes to very needy families abroad or wherever is supported by Samaritan's Purse. And I want to challenge other churches. I think churches are helping Asheville a lot. Our little country church sent $5,000 to help in Asheville and around the surrounding area. But if you're interested in Operation Christian Child, we have a packing party the 10th of November up at Ridgeview. But you can call my husband. He's the chairman of Fort Fitness County, and he can get you some boxes. Thank you.
Anybody got anything else?
I do, if you got this back.
I do. Go ahead.
I almost forgot. I've got a new grandbaby.
Well, good for you.
Graham Hensley, yeah. I wanted to mention
Congratulations.
that. Thank you.
I seen that and I forgot it.
I'm sorry, but I didn't know it was your grandbaby. Congratulations.
Wait till you get great grandbabies, Chris.
Oh, my.
Oh. Thank you, Chris, for reminding us that. I did see it on Facebook, but congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else got any other comments? Mr. Ward? Okay. Hearing none, we need a motion to recess our meetings until October the 29th, 2024 at 11 a.m.
I make the motion, we recess.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second that we recess until October 29th at 11 a.m. Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Sless?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also.
Thank y'all for coming.